Hi, everyone. It's Mitch from PickDogs.com here with Steve Monahan and the Puck Dogs, Rod and Chris. Got a little bit smaller card than yesterday. I think it's always going to be a smaller card than yesterday. Well, probably not, actually, with conference playing college basketball heating up. But definitely didn't disappoint. You know, I think that we were right on target with a lot of our picks and a lot of our commentary, at least yesterday. And I think that also, we were off on a bunch, too. And that's going to happen on cards that big. Certainly nothing to be ashamed of. I'm certainly not. I know that on YouTube a lot of the commenters seem to think I should be, but I'm not. Anyways, man, there was some great games yesterday, and of course the big one did not disappoint. Pacific and St. Mary's, 4 overtimes. I mean, I never saw it coming. You know, it's like I knew it was going to be a great one, but 4 overtimes. I mean, they're still playing. You know, they're still playing as far as I'm concerned. It just goes to show you that, you get in past that second, third overtime, even if you follow these teams as closely as we do, you got no idea who's on the court at the end of the game. And, when that happens, you try and make it so all bets are off. You try and hedge out as fast as you can because anything can happen because we're talking about guys way down the bench that never get to play. And, St. Mary's, this is a team in the West Coast Conference that I say this all the time. It's like out of conference, they can take some of those losses like they did to Dayton. But when you take an in-conference loss to a team like Pacific, it's going to be very tough to argue with the selection committee when they leave you out. So, I don't know, man. Outside of that, there was a couple football games yesterday. You guys might have watched that first one, which was just a beast of a game. And hopefully you caught the halftime show. We hedged out there. We had Bills. And then at halftime, we hedged out. We got the Texans at a really nice price, laying better than a touchdown there. Got almost 2-1 on our money, so we bet half the amount that we had on the Bills. Got back more money than we would have, than we bet on the Bills. So we ended up winning money on a game that we lost, and we had a chance down to the bitter end of catching that middle. We had a very good chance. Man, that damn 2-point conversion. I knew when they got that 2-point conversion we were in trouble. I knew it, to make it a 3-point game as opposed to a 1-point game. When you're on that 1-point game getting 2.5, it's like the world's a good place. You see some stalling the clock. Steve Monahan, what do you think of this this other NFL rule where these guys can just sit there and take delayed game penalties and run the clock down? I mean, is this a broken rule that needs to be addressed, or is this just part of the game?
I think it's part of the game. I think, the student, Mike Vrabel, with Belichick flipping out on the other sideline, it's within the rules, and it was the right thing to do. And, if it's in the rule book, it's fair game. So, to be honest, I don't think any of us knew about this rule, meaning you could just sit there, drain the clock, take a false start, this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, I wanted to say about Mike Vrabel, his command on that sideline, he is a force to be reckoned with going forward. He is a real good coach, man. And he covered every aspect of every nuance, really, he was aware of. And you know what? At the end of the day, the student beat the teacher. So you tip your hat to the Titans. Even though I took the Patriots, I now know going forward that I can now bet against the Patriots. That's what I took away from the game. So,
yeah, I agree with Alex here. I think that should be an option for the team that didn't commit the penalty to stop the clock or not stop the clock after the first one. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
And that the clock is running there.
It is.
I mean, whether it affected the outcome of the game, I don't really think so, because the Patriots really had a shot. They did nothing with it, and then at the end of the game, with that 45 seconds, would it have been there or not? I mean, who knows? But it's tough to say. I'm going to say in that game, in a game that ended 7 points higher than the game really was, right? It was a 14-13 game. I mean, anyone asked me what the final score was, 14-13, right? But in a 14-13 game, the Patriots had their chances. They had their chances. And it was the same problems that plagued them all season it's Julian Edelman not being able to catch a pass that hits him in the hands. It's the same freaking problem. And you could say that this guy is, this greatest second coming of whatever. This guy dropped more passes than any receiver in the NFL this season, and I'll tell you what, he added about 10 to it yesterday. Yes. And that was the big deal. The other thing is, you can't stop the run, you can't win in football. And I know these are not the exciting fantasy stats that people look at, and I say this, I've been saying it as long as I've had a website. I've been saying it for 12 years, and I said it, 20 years before that. It's very simple to win in football, and while people can say, oh, this guy and this wide receiver when they draft, it's always like when you're a kid, your favorite player is always the wide receiver, right? He's running down the field, catching these passes. And for me, it was like when I was a kid, Billy White Cheese Johnson. Right? I used to love Billy White Cheese Johnson, when I was a kid, right? Everyone loved Billy White Cheese Johnson in my era, right? I mean, he was named to the all-time team, right? Billy White Cheese Johnson. And perfect. It's like he would wear his black shoes. And people, oh man, watch out. It was like, but at the end of the day, you run the football, you play defense, you win games, and you block, you tackle, you run the football, and that's how you win. And that's how you win in January. It's how the Patriots have won in January in the past. Not only do they not have a wide receiver on the team worth a crap. And I think Edelman, if you can get him back into his role of being a slot receiver as opposed to being a number one, which he isn't, right? Yeah. You get him back into that role, well, then you have a different story, like when they signed Randy Moss. Well, and they tried. It's not like they didn't try. They brought in Josh Gordon. They brought in Brown. They sold their soul to the devil to try and get a receiver in there. They even tried to make Philip Dorsett a reasonable option. I mean, they drafted a receiver in the first round. I mean, this is they know they have a problem. They know they have a problem there. This is kind of like when the year they got rid of Ben Coates, right? Remember the year they got rid of Ben Coates? It was like they would have loved to have that one back. All they needed was one more year, with them, to a transitional year. But they let Ben Coates go, and it was the same thing. Brady, I got no one to throw to.
I mean, the other thing was Patriots get down to the 1 yard line, and typically they're going to punch it in. But you give Tennessee credit, especially that linebacker Evans, man. Those two tackles he made, stuffing them at the goal line was absolutely huge.
So I honestly believe that Wesley Woodyard is going to be a head coach at some point. I honestly believe that he's going to be a great head coach. And here's a guy who, he's one of my guys, right? He's not Khalil Mack, and he's not, J.J. Watt, and he's not, one of those guys. He just sits there and plays defense for 15 years, making 100 tackles a year, man. And every guy on that defense listens to every word that he says, and it's like, it's a ridiculous thing. I mean, and Kenny Vaccaro,
Oh, glad you mentioned him. Boy, he is.
You think he's sick of hearing about Gilmore? You think he was sick of hearing about that?
What a player he
about
is.
Defensive backs.
He is first team All-Pro, no question.
I know Gilmore has all these great stats and everything, but I think he's been one of the most overrated players since he's come in. This guy I think he's number one in getting away with pass interference and holding than any other guy. He's the best at disguising defensive holding.
Yeah.
Chris, your Bruins just laid a big fat egg yesterday too. It was just a crappy day for Boston fans.
I
know. They got absolutely smoked. I gave, when you said Bruins, I was on the other side of that one. Plus 175 for us on the other side of the Boston Bruins there. I don't know. Does this make you maybe your Phil Esposito jersey, maybe Espo? Maybe you traded in for a pair of Sassoons. I'm not really sure.
A Ray Bork jersey? Come on, something like that.
Ray Bork.
It's going to start collecting dust.
I told the Puck Dogs this story, and they don't really understand it, but I'll tell it to Steve, and he'll probably remember it. When Cam Neely got traded to the Bruins, Rob Peters and our friend Fitzy wanted to drive around Boston, stopping by the T-stops to see if he was hanging out there, to see if he wanted to hang out with us, because they're like, he probably doesn't know anybody. You know? Like, seems like a good guy.
And what a player he turned into.
And the thing about it is, they were dead serious. They were dead serious. They're like, he's probably hanging out at a T-stop somewhere.
That's a true story.
This is exactly how we used to spend our days. It's like your wife asks you, so what did you guys talk about? It's like, I don't know, who looks like who? It's like dead ringer for
we were hunting down Cam Neely in T-stops.
It's like, this guy got traded to the Bruins named Cam Neely, and we're going to drive around town looking to see if he's waiting at a train station somewhere. She's like, I'm going to stay home for that one. Anyway, speaking of hockey, let's kick it off with some picks here, man. We're 10 minutes in and it's just rambling. But let's see what we got. Got the Sharks and the Capitals, 12:30 start. This is the pre NFL game. Caps minus 237. Rod, you bring your wallet with you for this one, or what do you got to say?
The Sharks team, their last two games, they looked half decent and playing way better. They're actually 12-2 in the last 14 in Washington. I'm gonna take a chance here with the Sharks. Give me the Sharks on the money line here today. I'm not laying 235 with Washington.
Yeah, I'm on San Jose plus 205 as well. It's worth a shot. Like Rod said, they played well against Columbus last time out, and they beat Pittsburgh the game before that. I think San Jose's worth a shot here.
I don't really track these things, but I think the Florida Panthers have played 16 days in a row. I think they had Christmas Day off, and I think they played, or Christmas Eve, whatever it was, that break that they had in the NHL on that Christmas week. And I think they played every single day since then. We got the Panthers here up against the Penguins. I'm not sure here, man. Is it me? Have they just played a ton of games recently? Chris, what's going on here?
No, it feels like they have been on the schedule at least once every day or every other day, or maybe they've been playing split squad games. Who knows? But no, I'm gonna side with Pittsburgh in regulation here. Florida's done well on a back-to-back. They won 4 of their last 5, but still, Pittsburgh just keeps finding ways to win. They beat Montreal yesterday, and I think they have their starting goaltenders Tristan Jarry today. You can make a case that he's their number 1. So I'll take Pittsburgh in regulation here at even money.
Rod?
I'm going the other way. Give me the Panthers. They started off yesterday's game, didn't play so good. They came back, played real good in the third. I think they come out firing in this burst. And it'll show that Pittsburgh needs some offensive help.
I mean, if you look at the Panthers, I mean, they've played on the 28th, the 29th, the 31st, the 2nd, and the 4th. So, I mean, they have played a lot of games. I mean, they're playing a lot of hockey there. It's like, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of hockey.
Penguins have played, what, 3 in the last 4, too?
Steve, Michigan against Michigan State, college hoops. This looks like two teams that hate each other's guts. I think Michigan is always a little softer in this rivalry. I know in football they've had the better team at least this year. The better team hasn't mattered in football that much, but we know in basketball that it just seems that the Michigan State players, when they play against Michigan, they really take it seriously, while the Michigan players kind of like go through the motions. It's like, it's a weird thing, it's like a soft approach to a hardcore rivalry. And the Michigan State players, kind of like the way I feel about Florida, Notre Dame, and Ohio State and Florida State. It's it's okay for the Miami Hurricanes to go 1-11, but that one win better be Florida State. And I think Michigan State feels the same way about this Michigan thing.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Coaches, Michigan State, Cassius Winston, they'll get up for this game. Michigan State, at the end of the, by come March Madness, coaches will have this team rocking and rolling. Michigan State's lost a couple early games where, you kind of go, is this Michigan State team like one of the ones in the past? I think they are. With this rivalry, I love Michigan State here all the way in this game today.
How about this? Listen, hear me out on this one, okay? When Izzo retires, okay, Draymond Green is the coach of the Michigan State Spartans.
All right. I don't see Coach Izzo packing it in anytime.
No, it's like exactly.
Right, that timeline could fall into place. Draymond Green is a Spartan through and through.
Oh, he's of all the Michigan State Spartans, including Magic Johnson and including all these other guys, Draymond's like one of my favorites personally because he took this game so seriously. And that's really, to me, what it says. And I think, I say this quote all the time, Draymond Green, they asked him after the game at Michigan, and they said, why did you guys dominate Michigan this year? He says, they dislike us. I hate them. And, it's like, that's how he really feels about them. And it's like, it's okay. It's okay. People say you don't hate anybody. And I got some things I hate, and Rod got a taste of that yesterday. So, Rod's like, "We'll never posting that again."
Like, I wasn't even thinking anything, and all of a sudden, I was like, "What did I do? What did I want?" And then I read the little comment at the bottom, and I won't repeat the little comment. I was like, "Oh, now it makes sense."
I said that. Okay.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Anyways. Got the Saints and the Vikings. Steve, Kirk Cousins, how many chances do we give this guy? If he doesn't win today. Oh, by the way, back to yesterday's games. We didn't really talk much about the Bills and the Texans. I think that the Bills have a nice young team there, and I think they will bounce back from that. And I think that Josh Allen, the way he took that loss, is going to make him a better player, because I think that the guys that kind of say, well, we're happy that we made it to this point or whatever, the happy to be here guys, never end up being like that next level player. But the guys that say, I never want to feel like this again, that take the losses really badly, I like that. And I think that with Singletary, with him, with White in the secondary, I think with the young line, Edmonds is, what they say, he's like 16 years old or something, playing middle line. They have a core that if they can keep, obviously in the NFL you can't keep the team together for all that long because of the free agency and because of the salary cap, but if they can keep that core together and stay healthy, maybe add another wide receiver to the mix, with Brown and keep Brown and, who's a nice find for them, right? A nice addition for them. Maybe add another possession guy so they don't have to, that tight end that gets banged up all the time, maybe keep him a little healthier. Add a possession guy, not Sammy Watkins, but somebody else. And, like an Alshon Jeffrey type, that stays healthy,
Yeah.
Add that. Maybe, they're so close. They should have won the game, right? They should have won. And, Sean Watson, I said it at halftime, we're not going to say that, just because they've had 22 yards or whatever, it's like, there's no way that we write this guy off, because it's like, this is not the guy that says, okay, we lost, you got us,
Man, it was reminiscent of the national championship game against Alabama, one of them, when, he brought them roaring back in the second half and made the legend of Deshaun Watson in college. It kind of had the same feel of the momentum change. But what a freaking performance by him, especially not going down on that crunch sack. Just his pure athleticism is just off the charts. But back to the Bills, I really think I can't say it's next year that they're going to dethrone the Patriots as the division champ, but they're, like you said, they're pretty damn close. It's
got to be next year, because you got to figure, and I'm hardly a homer anymore when it comes to the Dolphins, but this is a team with 46 first-round draft choices over the next 2 years, so they're going to be pretty loaded. I mean, they broke it down. They became actually. You saw just how good of a coach Flores is, and winning with what he. I mean, really the most pared down roster in the entire NFL. It's like Kenyon Drake. I mean, and this guy's. I mean, I don't understand that trade because he's a player.
Yeah.
He is
I don't
a player.
think they got a lot of value back for him as much as they could have.
Right. They didn't get. It's not like they got the first round picks like they did for Minkah Fitzpatrick. It's not like they got And I'll tell you that Laramie Tunsil is a lot overrated, man. Not just a little bit. He's a lot overrated. I mean, he's a lot. I mean, I think he's good, but he can't block like the best pass rushers one-on-one. It's not like it's hardly like Art Shell or something, He's
I don't think he uses his bong mask as much anymore, so it's probably affecting his on-the-field performance a bit.
It probably has something to do with it, but I think that I don't think Tunsil is like a dominating tackle, like
Yeah, he's decent, but he's not. He's not.
I could name
Anthony Munoz, put it that way.
Yeah, but I mean, they gave up a lot, to get him.
They did.
They gave up a lot. It'll be interesting to see how he holds up in Kansas City next week.
But I tell you, back to the Bills-Texans game, we talked about J.J. Watt, and listen, he had that big sack, so, he was impactful. You just got to give Houston credit for coming back, and, the Bills, it's a tough loss, and, I like your point about Josh Allen. We talked about that, his inexperience, but he played his heart out. And, Buffalo's got nothing to be ashamed about. Their future is bright. Coach McDonough is a good coach. So, you should hear a lot of Buffalo going forward.
Yeah, I like what they're doing there. You can kind of see that they have things going in the right direction. And when you have a quarterback like Allen, he is a Super Bowl type quarterback. Those are the guys that do it. Kind of like maybe he doesn't have I mean, he has a good arm. It's a little bit underestimated, but he's not like Peyton Manning or something like that. He's kind of just more like, throw me the ball. I'll run the ball. I'll do whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to slide. I mean, Merciless let him go on the touchdown pass on the first score. Yep. He got cracked at the goal line. No one said anything. I mean, he Duriel Harris, right?
Yeah.
It was like a somersault, and no one said anything. It's like, this is. I mean, if that's like, I don't know, Peyton Manning or something. I mean, you couldn't even see Peyton Manning getting hit like that, or even a young Peyton Manning. I mean, imagine like Bernie Kosar going out for that play and getting smacked like that. I mean, come on, get crushed. How about Josh Rosen? I mean, the ball would be he would get hit. The ball would be in the other end zone, right? He'd be like, he'd be asking the guy to help him up,
Yeah.
That, to me, of the last 2 years, one of my favorite things, when Josh Rosen stuck his hand up for that, the defensive guy trying to help him up. The guy's like, get the hell away from me. Anyways, the Clippers got crushed yesterday by the Timberwolves.
Yes, they did.
I mean, by Memphis. They got wasted.
Wasted.
They got the Knickerbockers on tap today. I like the way the Knicks are playing, personally. They're playing hard, but I think the Clippers bounce back here, laying 8 points in this thing against the Knicks. I think that, when Steve was the one that, was talking about the Knicks coaching change, and I was the one saying, I don't care what coach comes in here, it's not going to help. But actually, it has helped.
It has. Miller's done a good job in a couple weeks.
But I think this is a bad spot for them. I know the Clips aren't a back-to-back, but they got to be a little salty after yesterday. So, I like the Clippers here. Steve, what do you think?
I'm on the Clippers. I watch the Knicks day in, day out. They've been playing better basketball, no question, but they're on the road in California. The Clippers got smoked yesterday. We talked about the Clippers being somewhat inconsistent early in the season, but they're the much better team here. I have no problem taking the Clippers laying 8 points.
Yeah, I like the clips in this one, no doubt about it. I'm trying to mess with these graphics on the screen because it's like trying to figure out what's important. I think this and this. So please hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so. We got to get into more picks here. I don't know. I'm in one of those moods. Just there's so much good stuff yesterday that it's like, you know, I mean, we haven't even got into the West Virginia-Kansas thing, right? Getting 10, and it's like, I mean, they almost won that game.
Almost, I think it was 8.
Yeah, it was 7 maybe?
I think it was 10, wasn't it?
Well, the line was 10, but
the
game was 7.
but
West Virginia they should have won.
I think it was 8.
West Virginia's got 2 losses this year. I think they won both of those games, you know? It's like, you could go back and make a case that they won those games. How about the Lightning and the Hurricane? Look at this one, okay, Rod? The Lightning plus 110. This is our minus 290 team, you know, our minus 390 team. All of a sudden, plus 110. The Canes, minus 130.
Yeah, Tampa's won 6 in a row. Give me Tampa. You never see Tampa at that price. It's always at minus 130. Is it a trap? I don't know, but I'm going to take a shot. Give me Tampa.
Yeah, I'm on the same thing. If it's a trap, I'll bite. Tampa's won 6 straight, like Rod said. They've 4-1 their last 5 on no rest. They've also owned Carolina 20-7 in the last 27 and 13-5 in the last 18 in Carolina. There's good value with Tampa Bay here.
For those of you looking on picks on specific games in the NBA or college basketball, I have YouTube videos on almost every game, all of the NBA and most of the college basketball. I did 19 YouTube videos. So if you just go to our YouTube channel, it's called Pick Dogs. You can find my pick on those games. So we'll get to a lot of them, but it's like we're not going to get to all of them. I don't know. I'm just wasting time, I guess. So the Blackhawks and the Red Wings, you guys know I'm not a hockey guy, but if these teams played every week, I'm good with it. I like both these teams. These are kind of my teams, you know. It's like half these teams, like, you know, to me, it's like, I guess hockey's one of those sports I just tune in every few years or just the playoffs. I'm one of those guys. I admit it, you know. And that's how we invented the coin toss on this show for my hockey picks. But Red Wings, Blackhawks, I mean, these teams hate each other's guts, right? I mean, this is not
the original 6 matchup.
Original 6, and they hate each other for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm still going to side with Chicago on the pop line here. They're not a team I'm trying to back regularly, minus 1.5. But realistically, they're not out of. They're well within a wild card spot right now. There's lots of time to make up that ground. But they need to take advantage of soft schedule spots like this. Detroit's still not a good team, so I'll go Chicago minus 1.5. I think they win this game 5-2.
I mean, at dead even where the Blackhawks are 18-2. I mean, this is about as good as they've been, you know.
Yeah.
In recent years. Right?
Yeah.
Since I left Chicago.
I'm exactly the same. Give me Chicago here. Chicago will beat Detroit today.
I don't know. It's like I feel like the Kentucky Governor, you know, like we're half Blackhawks, half Red Wings. Yeah, like 2 teams that I like. St. John's taking on Xavier. Steve, what do you think about this one? Xavier is, 2 years out now since Chris Mack has gone to Louisville.
Right.
And St. John's, not bad, you know, not a bad team there. So this is an interesting game. I think, to me, I did a video on this game, and all the pressures here seems to be on all the money, public, sharp, the world is on Xavier here. But this is a team that's 2-6 against the number at home.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Johnnies here on the road here. St. John's has turned it around a little bit. They've been playing pretty good. They've had a good schedule that they've played. So I'll take St. John's because the money, like your philosophy, if money is on, a lot of money's on the favorite, I'll go with the dog here. I'll take St. John's.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm on St. John's as well. I could see this going down to the wire, maybe a 2 to 3 point game. St. John's had that. They almost came back. I think it was against Butler, and they fell just short. I think they bounced back here, and they give Xavier a run for the money.
Give him a game. Yeah.
That's just too many points between these two. Give me St. John's here in the points. I think Xavier wins, but not by 7.5.
That's right.
Rhode Island's favored by 3 points over Richmond. Rhode Island lost to Brown last time out.
Yeah.
I had them in that game. I bet my money on Rhode Island in that game against Brown. They were 8-point favorites. They got slaughtered. Okay, against the Brown. The Brown. The Ivy League Brown.
The Brown Bruins.
Yeah, Brown. Brown. They lost to Brown last time out. Now they're 3-point favorites over the Spiders, who are 11-3, 2-1 straight up on the road, 7-3 in their last 10. I don't know, man. Maybe the YouTube guys are right. Maybe I do know absolutely nothing and never get a game right. I mean, I have no idea because I know the Richmond defensive rebounding, horrific, right? I mean, why bother, right? It's like, if you're going to rebound like that defensively, I say, just don't even fake it. Don't even, just turn around and walk the other way. And I think that's what they do. I think the only defensive rebounds that they get for Richmond are the ones that just like accidentally hit them, or they hit off the other guy's leg and go out of bounds. I haven't seen like a lack of effort like that since Yinka Daray's assist mark. It's like, how do you go through 3 seasons in the NBA and not get an assist? I mean, it could like hit off your leg. You could like do something like this. The guy didn't have an assist for 3 years. It's like, how is that even possible? It's like, it's not like you didn't play. It's like, you don't have. It's like, I mean, you hand the ball to someone, layup. It's like, I mean, how many? It's like 3 years.
Exactly.
I talked to the guy who was the president of the Nets during that time, and I met him in Vegas, and I asked him that.
Who is that? Brett Yormark or something?
Yeah, I saw him in Vegas. I recognized him. Right? I'm one of those guys. I recognize this. It's like, I'm like, hi, my name's Mitch. Nice, you're the guy from the Nets. He's like, yeah, I was the GM. So president of the Nets. I'm like, how does a guy not get an assist for 3 years? I'm like, how is that even possible? He's like, you think that's bad? He's like, he's like, how about the guy who's pressing me telling me that we need at least 2 superstars and we only got 1? And I'm like, who's the one? He's like, who's the one? He's like, that was my question. And the guy said to me, Derek Coleman. I was like, what? That was his answer.
Coleman.
He's like, you need 2 and we only got 1. And I asked him, I said, who's the one? He's like, that's the same thing that I said. He's like, the guy said Derek Coleman. I was like, what? He's like, the guy's agent comes to me and says, he's got a clause in his contract that says practice is optional. It's like, what is this? Anyways, man. I got to go with Richmond here because I just hate Rhode Island so much from that Brown game. What do you guys think? Yinka Daray.
I gotta take Rhode Island. I'll take Rhode Island.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Rhode Island as well. I think they get the taste out of their mouths from that Brown loss.
Yep.
Rod.
Give me Richmond in the points. That's the way I was leaning when I first seen this come out, and I'll stick with that.
Yinka Daray. I guess he passed away.
He may have. I think
January 2004.
Wow, it's that long ago, huh?
Yeah, Inglewood. He lived in Inglewood. Collapsed. Wow, that's sad.
Yeah.
I feel bad talking about his assistant. Well, not that bad.
Right.
It is what it is. I mean, your record is your record.
Exactly.
But I'm going to take a quick look at Yinka's stats here. So,
they can't be good.
in 94, so he only actually went 2.5 years without an assist. That was wrong. Because in 94-95, he had no assists. And then in 95-96, in 58 games, he had 0 assists. And then actually in 96-97, he averaged 0.1 assists per game. So that would put him at 4 assists for the season. That's big.
Well, that's huge.
That's huge.
Sign that.
That's a major production there.
And then in 97, 98, he just got on the board with 1 assist.
How?
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's the definition of the non-team player. But anyways, those of you that are watching the show, if you could hit the thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. Let's get back to another early college hoops game here. For those of you saying, give out a 12 o'clock game. The other one is, like I said, I did YouTube videos on these games, and I'll tell you, I struggled with them. George Mason against VCU. I love VCU in this one. I just like that VCU defense. And George Mason, I think that when you can find the bad matchup, that's the one thing that I look for a lot. A lot of people look at trends and say, oh, they've won, they haven't won at George Mason in 638 games or whatever. I don't even look at that because in college the players change every 3 weeks. But
right.
I think when you have a team that averages only 69 points a game, like George Mason does, ranked 236th in the country in scoring, and you're up against the 26th ranked defense in the nation, because while Shaka Smart is gone at VCU, and now it's like just like we talked about yesterday at Texas, and how about Baylor, right?
Yep.
They hate Texas. Like how Michigan State hates Michigan, they hate Texas, right? They're so sick of hearing about Texas. But just because Shaka's gone, it doesn't mean that his disciples aren't, leading the way there at VCU. And I mean, that defense is still there. 26th ranked defense in the nation, and it's not like they haven't played anybody. I just don't see that. I don't see the George Mason offense being good enough here to keep this one even close. I think this is one of those suffocation games, double-digit VCU win.
Blow out.
It's one of those ones where they just have trouble inbounding the ball. It's like you've seen it, right, against VCU. It's scary.
You convinced me. I'm all in on VCU. That's
How about
for sure.
you, Rod?
Yeah, VCU for sure. Blowout. I see this blowing them out.
Yeah, I wrote George Mason, but now I'm starting to switch towards VCU.
Have that effect on people.
Well, VCU held George Mason to 36 points the last time they met last season, so almost doubled them up. So yeah, I'll go VCU here.
Well, big money all with us on VCU in this game. Is the line has moved from 5 to 7 since I did my video. Well, if you have picks, you can put them in our Facebook group. You got Cashville up against Anaheim, 10 o'clock game. This is the bailout tonight in NHL. Rod, what's going on here? Saros in goal for the Preds. I mean, is there a worse name for a sports team than Predators?
The Predators?
Yeah. I think they named that before the Me Too movement, It's like maybe they'll change their name like some of these other teams do.
For me, I think this game will be closer, and I think we're going to get some scoring. Give me the way Nashville's playing. They're starting to actually play some hockey like we figured they were going to play. Give me Nashville in regulation, and I like the over here.
How about you, Chris?
I'm going to go the other. I'm going to take a shot with Anaheim here. Yeah, Nashville's lost 7 of their last 8 on a back-to-back. It's not a game I'm rushing to the window to bet, but take Anaheim with plus money. I think we missed a game.
You did?
Yeah, Calgary, Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Calgary, Minnesota. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like Calgary here. Minus 106. Minnesota's been solid at home, but they've also lost 7 of their last 8 on the second half of back-to-back. I also feel that Calgary's due to sort of break out. This could be a good place for it to start. I'll take Calgary.
I look at this, and I looked, and I'm going, there's a lot of people on Calgary. Why are they still plus money? Like, I don't know. I don't get that there. Give me the Wild at home here on the money line.
All right, Eagles Seahawks. We haven't covered this one. I don't know, man. To me, this is turned into a very, very tough pick. If you asked me a month ago, I would have been Seahawks. These were my Super Bowl guys a month ago. But the running game has fallen apart, not because it's fallen apart. It's fallen apart because of injuries. And, with Penny and, this was a different team, And, it's like they keep going and going and going. They've lost, 3 running backs now. They're down to Marshawn Lynch, who's not bad, but it's like, maybe he's going to be in better game shape now, for this one. But the Eagles are banged up. Doug Peterson, really poor play calling, and Carson Wentz. Is he where you want to have your money in a big game? Not
it's his
really.
first playoff game, that's for sure. So.
The thing is that we saw the Eagles in a similar spot last year at Chicago in a game that nobody gave them a real chance. And doink later, they're in the next round of the playoffs, and Meanwhile, Seattle's looked terrible in the last couple of weeks. I know they had the comeback against the 49ers, but they were. Why did they even need to do that? Because they got run over, And it's like we saw them lose also, winnable games. This is bad, And the Eagles, we can say, well, they lost to the Dolphins and they lost to, it's bad. They also beat the Bills in Buffalo, and they beat the Cowboys in the must-win game. And that's not saying anything, but it's saying something. Right. So neither of these teams have been too dependable. The Eagles are home. The Seahawks, of any team on the board this entire weekend, more bets have been placed on the Seattle Seahawks than any other team on the entire board this week. And that is never a good thing. So, Steve, what are you thinking here? This is a tough one.
Yeah, it is. Last I saw, it's even right now.
It's been back and forth. This game has gone through 0 a couple times. Right now, I got the Eagles at -1.
Okay, I checked that a couple hours ago, so I understand that. I still, to me, it comes down to Russell Wilson. You talked about Seattle, the running game. But you can't discount Marshawn Lynch. I don't care that he's been wiggling his toes in the sand for the last four months. The guy is a freak, I think. So I think he can contribute. This DK Metcalf, the rookie wide receiver, is a beast, man. I think he's just a big body guy. He can catch. He can run. Clowney's back for Seattle. On defense, they've had some injury. But the Eagles are banged up. Carson Wentz, this is his first playoff game. I get that it's home. But to me, in a 1-point game, I'll take Russell Wilson all day long. And I got to go with Seattle. And I know they haven't been playing well to let down the stretch. But to me, it comes down to Russell Wilson and making a play when they need to. And I think it's a close game, but I'll take that 1 point. I'll take Seattle here on the road.
Seattle, one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL this season. Absolutely.
But Eagles are banged up. They got no Aguilar. Zach Ertz.
Well, that's a good thing.
I know, but he's still, he's a starting wide receiver on him. And Zach Ertz, as good as he is,
right.
he's banged up.
He's a starting wide receiver because they're invested in him.
Yeah,
he hasn't earned that. Believe me, this gig doesn't work out. I'm not sure there's too many teams willing to take a flyer even on that guy. You think Julian Edelman drops passes? Whoa, this guy takes it to a whole new level.
But the point is, the Eagles are down to second, third string wide receivers here for the most part. So
Zach Ertz is playing.
I know, but he's still got banged up ribs and everything else. He's
a good shot and he'll be out.
Yeah.
So the Eagles' defense is third in the NFL against the rush. They allow less than 100 yards a game, 90.1 yards per game against the run.
That's why Russell Wilson is the X factor here.
I think this is going to be an interesting game. Chris, what are you thinking?
Well, it's like Steve said. I think we all think it's going to be a really close game. If you look at it, Seattle was 10-2 in games decided by 8 points or less this season.
Yeah.
I just think it is going to be a close game, and I think it's a game that I also would rather have Russell Wilson in. So I'll take 3 point with Seattle.
Rod?
Yeah, I'm going to side with Seattle as well, and give me the better coach. And Carroll's 5-0 against the Eagles in his career. So give me the Seahawks here.
Tough game.
It is a tough game, no.
This is not the one.
I'm taking Seattle, but I could
in this game. You know, I was like, it ain't gonna happen. You know, I could be talked into either way, but I don't know.
I'm definitely not.
I love it when 70% of the bets are on one team. It's just you don't see action like this often. This is like a real outlier. You know, that there's this much action on one team. It's a crazy amount of action. And that the line flipped through the number the other way, right through zero. That means there's some big, because considering there's only 2 NFL games today, there's some big bets on the Eagles out there. Real big money. Anyways.
I like the over. I think they're going to score some points.
I like the over too. I can't stand that Seattle defense, man. It's like I don't understand why there's such Swiss cheese all of a sudden. I mean, even against the run, they're giving up points.
Yeah, I think I'm at the under on this one.
I mean, the issue that we have with the issue that I have, of course, with Peterson is that he's the king of the low percentage pass. It's like 3rd and 4, and he calls like a slant to the corner of the end zone where it's like the ball needs to be threaded through a needle, and it's like you got Zach Ertz 2 yards, turn around. It's like how many Doug Cosby, right? Go back and watch Doug Cosby. Okay, this play works. Trust me on this one. Okay, the guy goes out, takes about 3 or 4 steps, turns around, and does this.
Right, and uses his wide body to shield the defender, and boom, I'm right in the hand.
I mean, Mark Bavaro ran the same play. Yep. It's worked for a very long time, that same play. What's wrong with it? Why isn't it? What's wrong with that play? I don't know. People hate that play now. It's got to be the slant to the end zone with the one-armed, catch. It's like, oh, what a genius call. The one time out of 70 that it works. Move on. How about the Cavs versus the Timberwolves? This game is not only is it up against the tail end of the Eagles Seahawks game. They're charging full admission for this thing. Okay,
what?
Full price.
Get half off and free in, $5. Everybody come on in. Like no one's going to that game.
I mean, I've heard the idea of a staggered pricing system. I've heard this before for the season, for the teams that have longer seasons, that through the first half of the season, so it'd be through the first 41 games of the NBA, you pay a standard price for your tickets. And then based upon the performance and record of the team, the price of the face value of the tickets fluctuate week to week. This would be about a $5 ticket. Right?
$5, yeah, that's what I said. I'll pay $5 to watch this game, man.
We should go look on StubHub and see what the get-in price is for this one.
You'd have to give me $5. Like walk in, swipe my ticket here, get a $5 bill.
Sunday night in Cleveland. What do you think, Steve?
I think you should get your coin out on this one. The Cavs are garbage.
So are the Timberwolves.
No, Timberwolves.
I mean, it's that's why you said it's a $5 ticket. So
we're looking it up to see exactly what the price is here. $6 is the get-in price. We were close.
Yeah. I got $6. I can do it.
And you can negotiate at the gate down to $5 if you want.
Hey, you could plan ahead and hit that Pistons Cavs game. $6 also is the get-in price. And if you feel like going down to Disney World and watching a game, that Wizards Magic contest, $7.
Ooh.
Way cheaper than a hot dog at Disney.
Right, or Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, it's half the price of. It's like, oh man, the Cavs. Whoa, Wizards Cavs is a straight $5. Knicks Cavs $6. Whoa, Cavs at Thunder, $3.
$3.
That's like what we paid for bleacher seats at Fenway Park in the 80s.
That's right.
See, that kind of thing is what makes me shake my head. I mean, I know I'm not trying to go back to hockey on this one, but you look at Leafs tickets here, $400 probably for center ice for one seat.
Well, what's a less popular team in the NHL that's struggling? What's like a city where there's? Let's look them up.
I know. I was
Detroit.
It blew my mind 'cause I knew you could.
I know, like the Sabres, even though they're bad, this is their team. You know, it's like they don't have anything else. But let's look at something like, you know.
Oh God.
I mean, there's. How about the Panthers? They're.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, Florida.
I remember watching a game when they were in a playoff push. You could get 4 tickets.
Coyotes at Panthers, $9.
This was a team that was leading the division, and you could get 4 T-shirts, 4 drinks, 4 hot dogs, and 4 tickets for $99 for a playoff team.
Section 307. If you feel like moving up a little bit, you can get in for $11.
That's not,
That's not even fair.
that's unreal.
For
I can't even
$20, I'm in the hundreds. I'm in the lower bowl for $20. Rod loves the Coyotes.
And
Go
look
down
what it
there
cost-
and put on the muscle tee.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's get back to some action here.
I don't think there's any Canadian team that you can get in for $11.
Think you'd be surprised. Go back to college hoops. Oregon State against Colorado. Chris?
I love Oregon State here. I think it's too many points. I think it's 2-3 point game at most. I think they match up really well with Colorado. I like Oregon State with the points here.
I like Oregon State too. Chus Trinkle, one of my favorite players. 17 years at Oregon State. Steve?
Yeah, I'm with the Beavers here. I think that's a good play, no doubt.
Rod?
I'm going to take Colorado. I'm not going to play with the Beavers today.
I was
I think
hoping
Colorado kind of let it all out of their system against Oregon the other night. I think, you know, it's going to be hard to follow that up back to back. I like the USC Trojans here. I like a money line against Washington. I'm all in on USC this year. I think people that watch my regular videos, I think you know this. I've always say that, like, you know, I've been saying at least for the past, I don't know, 6 years in my videos that next year is USC's year. This is next year. This is it. This is the year that they're finally good. This is to me their best shot since, you know, OJ Mayo's cup of coffee. This is their shot. You know, this is when they're
With all their recruiting violations and payoffs and everything, they're finally, this is the year, huh?
This comes together in a beautiful mix of talent. You know, I mean, something that Bruce Pearl kind of wonders how it got past him.
Oh, boy. I'll take the Trojans just because, you know, it's a dirty, filthy program.
Chris?
I want the Trojans too.
Rod? Huskies are
Give me
Trojans.
I'm going to take Washington here today.
Gonna lose. Anyway. Anyways, Illinois against Purdue. Illinois at home. It's like they lose to Miami and then they beat Michigan. You know, who the hell knows in the Big Ten. Purdue, it's like they beat Virginia at home and, you know, by a million, and then they go on the road and can't beat anybody. They lose to Nebraska. I like Illinois here. A lot of public backing here though, 59%.
I gotta go Purdue.
Yeah, I like Illinois as well. The line just seems funny to me, so.
Rod?
We'll go heads, Illinois, and we'll go tails, Purdue. Tails, Illinois.
Lakers against the Pistons. The Lakers have really let some big leads get away from them in the last seconds. 11 is the number that we're never going to lay with the Lakers ever again because they've roasted us on it twice. 28 up by 28, win by 10. Did it to us twice. That alley-oop was just cold-blooded, man. I hate losing like that. It only happens to you when you have the favorite. I say it all the time. It only happens to you when you have the favorite. It's rare, like, that you get it when you're on the dog. The only time I think that's happened to me on the dog was Northwestern Ohio State when they tried lateraling it around. Ohio State jumped on the ball in the end zone on the last play of the game. But Lakers minus 15. I think they get off the schneid here.
Right.
2-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. The Pistons 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. 5-13 straight up on the road. 5-12 against the number. If not now, then when?
Oof.
Yeah, oof. We just laid 11 with them and got burnt. And now we want to lay 15. It is Detroit.
It is Detroit.
Detroit won last night, though.
You know what? I'll be bold and take the Lakers covering it. Because the Pistons won last night, I don't see them showing up tonight. I think, the Lakers obviously can score a ton of points. So even though, we gotten roasted with the 11 the last couple times, Anthony Davis had, 46 points the other night. I'll take a flyer on the Lakers putting their, slashing the throats of the Pistons.
Yeah,
I would if you gave me a free bet, and I bet the Lakers on with my free bet, but I'm not gonna bet this.
No, I'm not betting, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have picks, I've asked about 5 times from the same person, put them in the Facebook group, and just doesn't care. So sorry, you have to go. Anyways, you guys can please hit the thumbs up. We got 107 thumbs up. Got 183 people watching. Pretty solid show.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, I think we're good. Chris, you want to do a recap? I didn't write anything down, so it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to give a parlay, I think, at the end of mine. Go ahead, Chris.
So I got San Jose plus 205 against Washington, Pittsburgh in regulation, even money against Florida, Tampa Bay plus 110 against Carolina, Calgary minus 106 against Minnesota, Chicago minus 1.5 and plus 115 against Detroit, Anaheim plus 106 against Nashville. 2-team parlay, I like Chicago minus 1.5 and Tampa Bay plus 110. NFL, I like the Saints minus 8 and I like the over 50. I like Seattle and I like under 45. For college hoops, I like USC plus 5 against Washington, Oregon State plus 7.5 against Colorado, St. John's plus 7.5 against Xavier, and LaSalle minus 2 against Fordham. NBA, I like Phoenix minus 6.5 against Memphis, and Miami minus 6 against Portland.
Okay. I lost my screen. Rod, you're up.
Okay, we'll start off. I'm going to take a chance. All the values here on San Jose. Beat Washington. I like the Flames or the Wild on the money line. Give me the Blackhawks here minus 1.5. I think they got a good chance to beat Detroit by 2. Give me the Rare plus money with Tampa. I like Nashville in regulation. College basketball, I took Wright State minus 8.5. I took St. Bonnie's minus 3.5. I like Colorado minus 8. I took Minnesota minus 9. I like St. John's plus 7.5. I like UIC plus 3. NBA, I'm only going to bet 2 games today. Give me the Heat minus 5.5. The Clippers minus 8. NFL, give me the Seahawks and the over. Give me the Vikings plus the points and the over. And for me, I got an NFL or NHL 3-way birdcage. Give me Nashville, Tampa, and the Blackhawks. And another 3-teamer, I'm going to go with USC +3. The Vikings over 50.5. And the Heat -5.5.
Steve Monahan.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'm definitely taking the Saints over the Vikings, laying the 8 points. I love the over in this game. I think points will be scored. I'm going to have to go with the Seahawks on the road here and take that point there. Russell Wilson being the factor. College hoops, I'll take Michigan State over Michigan. I like St. John's getting the points, the +7.5 against Xavier. I'm going to take the Rhode Island Rams against the Spiders of Richmond. I love VCU. We talked about that. And I think George Mason just doesn't score enough points, so I think VCU is a great value today. I'll flip a coin. I'll take the Timberwolves against the Cavs. I like the Beavers of Oregon State over Colorado. USC I like over Washington. I'll take Purdue over Illinois. The Lakers, I'll take a flyer there saying that they'll slash the throats of the Pistons. And outside of that, my parlay for today would be I love the Clippers laying 8 on the Knicks. I think that's a great value too. So my parlay would be Clippers, VCU, and the Michigan State Spartans today.
You guys can see all my picks on YouTube. I did videos, and you guys pretty much know who I want. But I'm going to give out a 5-team parlay, just because I never give out 5-team parlays. And why not? I'm going to go with Duquesne. Love them today. St. Louis, minus the 10.5 against UMass, who not a good team on the road. Going to take Illinois against Purdue. Purdue, terrible on the road. USC, because they're my Red Wings of college basketball this year. And I'll take Oregon State Beavers against Colorado. I don't think Colorado can put together performances like that. And I'll tell you, even though they beat Oregon last time out, that Kansas game, I'm never going to get past that. I'm never going to, if I meet someone from Colorado, we can talk about all these different things. But, back in the 90s, there was like a year where Colorado, like in Miami, and they had like this rival type thing going, even though they didn't play each other at that point. In Colorado, they whooped a lot of crap at us, man. I really never understood it. Meanwhile, we went into Colorado and beat them by about 600. There was a fight, and everything. This was back when McCarthy was still coaching. And anyways, can't back the Buffs on this one. So I'm going to take Oregon State. So it's Duquesne, St. Louis, Illinois, USC, and Oregon State on spite alone. Those are going to be my parlay for today. We'll come back and bring everyone back and do our farewell. Thanks everyone for joining us. I'm here every day. So this is our last 11 o'clock show. We're going to go 10 o'clock until daylight savings time. When daylight savings time starts, we go back to 11 o'clock 7 days a week. So we're just going to go 10 a.m. 7 days a week. And then that'll be until, I guess, March when daylight savings time happens. We'll get the date. You know what? Why not? I've already been here for a while. No, I'm kind of working on that Pacific versus St. Mary's game still. It's like, it's the adrenaline, kind of carrying me through.
March 8th.
March 8th. So
March 8th.
From now until March 8th, we're going at 10. On March 8th, we will go to 11. But it's easier this way. Just remember, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 days a week. It's Mitch, Steve, thanks for joining us. Rod, Chris, lighter schedule today, but still a lot of fun. I'll be here for halftime of that Saints-Vikings game and, of course, that Eagles-Seahawks game. The Eagles-Seahawks game, I'll be honest with you, and, I wrote this in the message to the premium members, too, is that I don't love this game, the Eagles-Seahawks. I can make an argument either way, so I'm not rushing out to bet it, but I think maybe at halftime, maybe we'll have a better view of this thing and see exactly what's going on. And it's like, if the Seahawks can't rush the ball on that Eagle run defense, and it comes down to Russell Wilson trying to DJ Metcalf, I'd kind of like his chances better than Carson Wentz hitting anybody, right? Anyways, see here, I'm arguing with myself. I'll take the other side to any argument, even against myself.
That's right.
Someone put an interesting, before I let everybody go, someone put an interesting thing in the Facebook group, and it's definitely something that I've thought about before, and I planned on doing for over a year now, and that is to sit and watch an entire day with you guys of games, and kind of just have this up, and I'll be watching games, sitting there eating pizza, drinking, whatever, doing whatever I do. I don't drink, but I mean, like, doing whatever I do, eating my Reese's peanut butter trees. I'm still eating my trees from Christmas. I like them. I'm not going to apologize for it. But believe it or not, the eggs are already out for Easter. How awesome is that? I mean, the hearts are going to be here for Valentine's, and I'm sure they're out too. But the eggs are already out.
Wow.
It's January. They've been out since the end of December. I hope it wasn't last year's eggs I've been eating. That's what I said to Carrie. I'm like, are you sure this isn't last year's egg?
What's the expiration on this thing?
It's kind of like she was cleaning out. Like, I have one of those leather backpacks, that I use when I travel. And she went in there and I said, "Oh, can you get my passport? It's in it's in my backpack." And she goes in and grabs it, and it's like there's a bag of peanut M&Ms, and she eats them. I'm like, "Do you know when those are from?" She's like, "I don't think they expire." She's like, "They tasted fine." It's like, not really sure. She's like, "Who in the hell leaves a bag of peanut M&Ms sitting there for that long?" I don't know, man.
You never know what
I can just do it. But anyways. I've thought about doing this for a long time. I used to have a chat room back when we were college football players, and I used to watch the games with everybody in the chat room all day. But being live on camera all day, right now, it's a little difficult because I'm spread really thin. Like, I have to do those videos, and, I have other stuff that I do. But I think it's a possibility maybe to watch some select games here and there, at least over the short term, to test the idea. And then what I'm hoping is that my legal stuff is cleared up, and that, I can put together a roadmap for what I'm going to do for the business, whether it be, just pick dogs or whatever the case, whatever I end up with after everything, or, whether I have, whatever I have. I might still be in a major lawsuit, I have no idea. But, we'll watch, I'm hoping that we watch, the first round of the NCAA tournament, the first two rounds, that, all day. And, I'll have these guys on, and we'll get other people to come in. And it's like, this way you got to run out, do something, go to the bathroom, do whatever. You have other people that'll be on the camera. But, I'll be here primarily most of the day. You guys know what I'm doing anyway. I'm sitting there watching the game. So it's like, I think it would be a fun thing to do. People could stop in for 15 minutes or for an hour, whatever time they have. Not everyone will have to spend the whole day with me, but people, it's like how we used to do with the chat room. People used to pop in and out. So it's definitely something that we've thought about. Definitely not, something that wasn't ever on our radar or anything like that. It's just, like I said, if you look at, in my answer in the Facebook group, I didn't mean it to be smarmy or anything like that, but, if you look at, and I'm not saying I'm the greatest and anything like that, because I'm not, right? But I try and at least be present. I'm not one of these people. I don't have a show where we just talk at you guys. I don't have a Facebook group where it's like, I'm not even part of the group. I don't have a website where I'm not part of the brand or the content. I think I'm very much part of it, even though I don't write the articles anymore, and that's not off the table. I still do, how many videos a day, right? 20 videos, 160 videos a month or more. So how many people, or 160 a week, how many of the other handicapping websites, does their Mitch show up as much as I do? So it's like, I understand I'm just one person. I would love to even do more. So I'm just trying to figure it all out and put it together. And, it's like, I want to be part of everything. But just, being on camera for another 8 to 10 hours a day, I don't know when I'll have time to do everything else. Are you going to sit here and watch me edit video, for 3 hours or 4 hours? I don't know how fun that's going to be. It's kind of like, what was that show? Ed TV with Matthew McConaughey. All right. But that's my thoughts on that. I'm sure these guys would be in, for at least a stint on the show, if not for, to watch a game and say I'll be here for the Duke, Stephen F. Austin rematch or whatever. All right, this is Mitch. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'll see you guys at halftime of the Saints-Vikings and halftime of the Eagles-Seahawks. What do we got, about an hour before game time? I'm going to go hit the driving range. I've changed my golf swing, and it's just really hitting the ball far, but unfortunately...
Is it windy there?
A little push.
Is it windy like it was yesterday? I was watching some golf yesterday, and it was like, holy, was it windy.
Oh, in Maui, in the afternoons.
In Maui, yeah, they were showing the white
in
caps,
Maui,
waves, guys surfing, and it was crazy. Look at the white caps on that.
In Maui, white caps?
Yeah,
we get 50-foot waves. It's not white caps. We get like, you ever see Deadliest Catch? You know, the show Deadliest Catch?
Yeah.
Like 50-foot swells. We get those at the beach.
Oh, geez.
You know? Yeah. But it's whale season. We saw our first whales. We're all ready to go.
Oh, nice.
This is Mitch. Thanks, guys,
that.
for joining me. Thanks, everyone who came in to view. Thanks for all the thumbs up, subscriptions. I'll see you guys in a few hours.